Okay, let's begin. So we're holding in the middle of Seif Heit or Aleph Chelik Beis. The second Shalosh Midas Elu. Basically, every Jew is supposed to, who was created in order to have Memshala, have dominion over the Malachim. Now the Malachim take it very, very seriously. Just 1 second. The Malachim take it very seriously, and just give me a sec. Hold on. So we said that Malachim take this particular Metzias of a person, of a Jew having Memshala, having dominion over them, very seriously and not too kindly. And we explain what the reasons are. You know, the Medrash says, if a person, it says a Zacha, person is fortunate in Zeicha, who koidem la malachim, he comes before the malachim. Lo Zacha, if he's not Zeicha, has not accomplished Koich. Thank you very much for the tea. If he's not Zeicha, they say to him, Yetush kodmecha. A mosquito was created before you. So the question is, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Are we talking about the order of creation? Obviously, you know, the mosquito was created before the person. But if you're talking about, if we're talking about the chronological order of creation, what has it got to do with Zacha, Lo Zacha? I mean, when were you created? Either this or that. But the answer is that is what Rabbeinu says over here. The person has physical guf, metzius. That physical guf and metzius was created Yom Hashishi, on Friday. I don't know, 6th day. On the other hand, Kadosh Baruch Hu created the entire world so that the Jew will have Memshala on the Malachim. Kadosh Baruch Hu created the entire world so that a Jew will come to his Tachlis and serve Kadosh Baruch Hu. And with this, B'ezrat Hashem, he will bring the world to its Tachlis. This was created, this purpose was created way before Brias HaOlam. So Mimela, this medrash is very clear. It's very Zacha. If a person reaches his tachlis, then he reached the Memshala above the Malachim. I mean, even chronologically, that particular zchus, that particular position, was already created before the world. He was created before the Malach. And besides, his position is before Malach. Yisrael ma'pol kel. Now, it would be said, the Malachim will ask, they will have to ask Am Yisrael, what has the Kadosh Baruch Hu done? What is he doing? Amen. What is the Kadosh Baruch Hu doing? They'll have to go through the Metzias of a Jew to find out. And the Kiras HaMalachim that we have been talking about, that the person needs to be very careful of, and this is what basically the Torah is all about, is not a petty kina, you know, I want it or you want it, and I want to have it, I don't. That's not the point. The point is that we said the malachim are mekane because they're totally emesdik. They're without any compromises. Midas haemes. Midas haemes is either it's emes or it's sheker. There's no, there's no relativity for it. When there's sheker, okay, so each one has his own emes, quote unquote. But l'maaseh the emes echad, Rabbeinu says. The malachim cannot contain this idea that there could be a metzias of avera. Can't be. This is a bechina of moichan de katnos that Rabbeinu talks about. What is moichan de katnos? Let's say an example of moichan de katnos is when as a child. A child has moichan de katnos. What does it mean? It means that the mind is constricted and cannot contain shnei hafochim, two opposites at the same time. A candy is sweet. As far as the child is concerned, it is good. An injection, inoculation, chisul, it hurts. So it's bad. But we both know that candies can give cavities and inoculation, prevent disease. Reality contains within it, both good and bad together. The moich of a child, which is the definition of moich and the katnos, cannot contain good and bad at the same time. Moich and the gadlus is when good and bad can be contained. The candy is both good and bad, and that the injection is both good and bad at the same time. This is l'maisa the same thing. So the way that the person cannot undo the kinnas malachim. A person can only connect himself to Shorish Yisrael and be able to withstand the onslaught of kinnas malachim. You cannot, machavek the kinnas malachim. This you can't do. Because that's the emes. The mekana to Kodesh Baruch Hu. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. But the point is that Kodesh Baruch Hu wants us to go through this world and stumbling, bumbling, making mistakes, and going backwards and forwards, or whatever it is that we're doing on a day-to-day basis, because that's the way Kodesh Baruch Hu created the world, for that purpose. But that does not take away the kinnas malachim. The very same way that, a person wants to fly. Well, very, very nicely. You want to fly, you have to go into a plane. The plane has to work properly, and so forth and so on. What happens if the plane doesn't work properly? Well, guess what? There's a malach called gravity. You can't take something, drop it, and says, I don't want this to fall down. Kinnas malachim is reality. This is the bria. You can hold on to Nishmas Yisrael, Shoshanos Yisrael. And the Rebbe says, how do you know who to connect to? Who is the emes and who is the be'azus? He says through Shleimus Yira Shabalev. When the heart there's a true Yira Shemaim in the heart. I remember I was asked by a friend, best of a friend, says, I'm a Baruch Hashem to Reb Simcha Balev. He's my Rav. And this person knows Reb Simcha Balev since he was a child. Okay? He grew up, basically in the same neighborhood. So he asked me, I don't understand. Why would you pick Rav Balev as your Rav? He says, he's as dry as dust. Yavesh kamo avak. Like there's no chen, there's no. So I told him I didn't pick him out to entertain me. I picked him out for him to tell me the emes. I need to know what the emes is. But nevertheless, even here, there has to be compatibility. I have to be able to talk to him. I have to be able to be makabel from him. The fact that he's emesdik, the fact that he's a Bresler, the fact that he's, that he's a ish kadosh, that's that's the minimum. But the point is, I have to be able to talk to him. I have to be able to communicate with him. So there are certain kind of compatibilities. The thing is that each and every one of us has different needs in order to connect with whoever it is mashpia for us. Some people need, this amazing charm or deep ideas and thinking and whatever it is. That's this is what the receptors are, connect with. It's only as you progress, and you become older, that the trappings become less important and the tachlis becomes more important. When the year is shalom, when the heart is complete, okay, the heart does not need the trappings, does not need the tafoa, it does not need the fancy clothes, it does not need, even Rabbi Nosson said, when he first came to Rabbeinu, if Rabbeinu wouldn't have had silver candelabra on the table, he wouldn't have been able to come close to him. I mean, he wasn't there yet. I mean, later on, Rabbi Nosson himself was eating with wooden spoons because he lost all his money. He had to give up all his money. But Nosson says, Rabbi Nosson himself says, when he first, when they sold the silver spoons and he started eating with wooden spoons, he said for a long time he didn't feel any time in the food.
How did Rabbi Nosson lose all his money?
Well, if you serve a Kodesh Baruch Hu all the time and there's no parnasa, slow, you have to sell whatever it is you have, and you end up with nothing. It's very simple. It's believe me, losing the money is not that complicated. Trust me, been there, done that. But the thing is that obviously, I'm not comparing myself. My reasons were different. But the main thing is, is that people need. It's like is that when you have tea and you need sugar in it, because otherwise you're not able to. Some people they're not able to drink it. When a person is mekurav to the mefusame ador, there's always an akuda, of where the tachlis is, where the emes is, where the toichen, where the content is, and there's also the tafora misaviv. There's the trappings around it. There's the tish, and people are standing on this and singing, and this. It's also a society. It's also a club, in a certain way. You belong. There's self-help. There's community help. There's a lot of things which are around, but in the middle of everything, there is the Yira Shalom. There's the heart. If the heart has a Yira Shlema, the heart is constantly wants to come to its shorish, which is avodas Hashem. That's the tachlis. That's what I need from you. I don't need you to wear a mask. I don't need you to wear a clown hat. I don't need to wear, these party up. I don't need all that. When you're a kid, you need that. You need a clown, you need cakes, you need whatever it is when you're a kid. As you grow older, so Yira Shalom means the ultimate maturity. So when you're mekarav to somebody, and that somebody, his pirsum is through Azus, his notoriety, his fame is achieved through his own ambition, it's not because he's really a Shorish Nishmas Yisrael. At least not to the degree that he claims that he is, or people think that he is. In the beginning, you get attracted, and you're enjoying, you're having a good time and everything. But your heart saying, "Chaser po mashu." I'm not getting anywhere. And now I'm not talking about Chas v'Chalila people are Rishon. In other words, the Mefusam. I'm talking about Rishon, Chas v'Chalila. Commensurately with how clean your heart is, your yira is, you require somebody who is Bilti Hashem Levada. And the perfect example for it is Reb Nosson. Reb Nosson was a Talmid and a member of the Beis Din of Levi Yisrael B'Ditche. Okay? That's pretty good. So Nigolish in Israel. And Reb Nosson felt, I'm missing something. Because commensurately with Be'eres Halev, the yearning of the heart, the purity of the yira of Reb Nosson, even Reb Levi Yitzchak B'Ditche was not enough. He needed something else. He needed Rabbeinu. Reb Levi Yitzchak B'Ditche is Kodesh Kodesh and is Emes Lamitle. It's just, a generation ago. He had the Baba Sali. He didn't like anything. He had Rabbi Satman.
What?
He didn't lack anything. Kedusha, Kodesh Aliyah. He had Rabbi Yorish of Satman. He had the Lubavitcher Rebbe. He had the Ribnitzer. Great, great people. This is not to put down any Chas v'Chalila anyone, but in order to latch on to the Shorish Yisrael, you have to have a Yira Shalom. And then we said there are three midos that bring it down: the Tavas Mammon, Tavas Achila, and Tavas Nachem. These are the things that each one of these Tavas basically is an additive. That's what they says. Isha no, dira no, kelim no, marchivin da'ato shel adam. When a person doesn't need any trappings, he doesn't need. He can live in a little room. There's a Rav Steiner lived this is one room apartment. Rav Orizah also lived in a tiny apartment, 15 square meters, whatever it is. It's just one sofa. This is where he slept. This is where he learned. That's it. You don't need them. So why do you have this big apartment? Because you're still a kid. You need a toy. You need the toys. You need the candy. You need the lolly. Matase. Isha no. Look, when a person needs it, he needs it. It's not. There's a There's a big payda on somebody who thinks that he already holds madrega of precious and so forth and so on when it's not in place. Hashem Yirachim. Even Reb Nosson, he was, when he finally, stepped away, from the Gashmi's the relationship is when he built the Aliyah, the second floor where his study. Only at that age, okay, this is now he became a parish. Until then, okay, because if it's necessary, it's necessary. If you need it, you need it. In other words, this is not an attempt to say, listen, you're still there. You're not worth anything. This is not what it's all about. If you need it, you need it. If you still need a bigger apartment, you need a bigger apartment. What are you going to do? You're going to take a little apartment, or you're going to marry a woman which you can't stand, or that disgusts you, or whatever. Not you personally, yeah, but and eat food that is like a gruel, like a golnish petish. You won't be able to take it. It's only a question of time until you fall. If you need it, you need it. This entire Torah talks about how do you strip off these taivas, these midos, in order to be able to, you don't need it. The emes is enough. Kivas elokim litov. That's all I need.
But what if your wife needs it?
So there's necessity. There's this other Shulchan Aruch says, what is the way that the Messiah do it in a way that is like it's compulsory, like you're forced to beseder. But the point is, you shouldn't make a right face while this is going on. That's not what we're talking about. How do I forget? You have to be with funny me'iros and whatever it is. No matter what it is, you need to have funny me'iros. It doesn't matter but obviously that's part of the that's part of what the need is. It's not a Vada'i. Adrabah. You signed the star. Not the chuppah. The star, the Vada'i. Money, oino, mezonim, jewelry, everything. Vada'i, emes. A couple grows together, and jointly, they lose the need for the tchotchkes, for the lollipops, for the sukkayot. Not that, but it's a natural process. It's a real process. You can't force it because you should not. You're not going to hold out.
You might want our own secret kodesh, a set of rabbinic sparring, things like that.
The nekuda that we need to understand is the tachlis is not to need the artificial sweetener in Momen, in Achila, and in Nosha. That's the tachlis. But as long as you need the kishutim, as you need the sukkariot, you need it. I remember I remember 40 some odd years ago. The breakfast where he would eat one egg for breakfast and then one piece of bread with honey on it. So he hardly had anything. I mean, basically almost transparent. Well, why the honey? Why the honey? So we spoke about it. He says, without and lochel matok, so my nephew is not me. If you need it, you need it. Oh no, touch. This is when the shtuyot come in. This is where the denial comes in. Unless you're this and this and this and this, then again, everything b'gvulot halacha, of course. A person cannot just look on whatever it is he wants to look. Can't do that. Yeah, but I have a need. Oh, thank you. Atkan. Other kid. When a person looks where he's not supposed to look, his wife becomes ugly for him. If a person only looks at his wife, she's always beautiful. If a person finds himself that his wife becomes unattractive to him, that's because that's a simon he looked somewhere so he's not supposed to look. How do you know she's not beautiful? Oh, you're comparing to something else, huh? Boo, 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 huh? Same thing. When is a person unhappy with his house? When they lose somebody else's house. When is a person unhappy with the food? There's meat called Wagyu beef. It's Japanese, and there's kosher. You can get it kosher. Yeah, kosher. Melts on the tongue. It's like, wow, it's so sushi. It's
Or it could be the opposite. Someone is drawn to asceticism, doesn't want a wife, doesn't want anything, but he loto feels.
Bevada. That's why a person needs a rav. A person needs a guide. A person needs a guide. A person has to have a madrich. He has to have a rav, and this rav has to be, normal, has to lead a person on a normal path. Tia normali. Somebody actually told me that somebody came to Rav Scheinberger. Used to wear, I don't know how many sisters, all the shittas, was going like a. And the person came to him and told him, Rav Scheinberger told me, Tia normali, be normal. Wearing, I don't know, 80, 100, I don't know how many scissors he was wearing. He told him, but be normal. No, what about you? This, for him, is normal. He's holding this matrika. He should be wearing all these sheetas of scissors. This is, in fact, the most important. We spoke about it when we talked about Kiddush Hashem. That on Sukkot, we spoke about it. That we spoke of, all this people that were killed, by the Machshemam, the Ishmaelim, the Dada Kiddush Hashem. So we spoke, when a person goes in Kiddush Hashem, that's Gan Eden in a Cadillac, or Rolls Royce, whatever you want to call it. Yashar. So I remember, again, many, many years ago, I asked my Rav if it's right for a person to ask Kadosh Baruch Hu to be mistalik al Kiddush Hashem. What do you think he answered me? אתה משוגע. Yeah, but Rabbeinu davened for that, right? Says, now you are double meshuga. What is the two different mishugases? One of them, what are you comparing yourself to Rabbeinu? Rabbeinu told Rabbeinu that he reached the Madrigal of the Baal Shem Tov at age 13. Okay? Age 13. What do you want to talk? Yeah, but this is called Shigaon. Secondly, about a person should ask, whatever. And he told me, so my son asked me, why is this Shigaon? So I told him, this is why a person needs to have Emunas Chachamim. Emunas Chachamim has to tell you what is Shigaon and what is not. You can't argue, you can't prove, you can bring proofs either. You can bring proofs either way, whatever it is. You can argue until you're blue in the face, and you can go around with bilbulim and whatever. You need a das Torah to learn what is being normal and what is being meshuga for you. Where you're home. I remember that there was a. I asked Marov about, I need panos or whatever it is, where to go to get a certain job that was some like telemarketing, and that. So I asked him, should I take it or not? I couldn't pay the rent, couldn't pay my rent. He told me I should take it. So I told him, would you take such a job? He said, I would not take this job, personally. But you should take it. Rega, is it true, it's right, or it's wrong? No, is it's right for me, or it's wrong for me. And I can only tell it through Emunas Chachamim. When my Rav tells me, even though for him it would be a Mishigas, for me, it's the normal thing to do. Because you're not dealing with theories, you're not dealing with Oriot, and you're dealing with Metzias. And that's Torah for one person. This is, and I told you this specific dogma when Myrov and his brother-in-law. His brother-in-law is the head of the Peleg Yerushalmi, Bushel Deutsch. And they're both doesn't matter. They're both married to two sisters that their uncle at the time was the richest Jew in the world. He comes from home, and then he went off the derech, whatever it is. He became a billionaire when the only other billionaire in the world was Paul Getty. All right? I mean, you're talking about... And his brother was a frum person. Basically, he's one of the founders of Monsey in New York. He passed away at an early age, leaving either 10 or 12 girls. So his brother married off all his brother's daughters, and he gave each one, he gave him an apartment. For him, he had, in the house that he had in Seville, he had a bowling alley in the basement and a pool. But for each one, he gave an apartment. Fair. Now, the thing is that all the Chazam, the father, the father-in-law, his brother, was a very eloquent person, and all his talmidim were talmidei chachamim. And saw all the rest of the. But Panosa Minayin didn't have what to eat. So Reb Ushel Deutsch Shlita went to the stipler because the uncle told him, listen, I'm willing to give you a salary every month. Score it. And says, and you can learn whatever you want, but I don't want you just to learn stam. I want you to learn towards a goal. Become something. Become a lawyer. Become an accountant. Become something. Okay? So Avushel Deutsch went to the stipler. And the stipler told him, yes, you can take money from him, but tell him that the miktzah, the profession that you want is only within Yiddishkeit. Become a Rosh Yeshiva, or become a Rav, or become whatever, not, a lawyer or... Okay. So he went, to his wife's uncle and told him what the stipler said, I'm willing to do this, but I wanted to be, Baruch Hashem, became Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Ponifesh, it was a very choshev yid. So he told my Rav, his brother-in-law, take. He had no parnasa, it was a sefer, and his eyes were swollen. He didn't have parnasa. So he told him, take money from him. It's okay. The stipler said it's okay. So he decided he's going to ask the stipler. But before he went to the stipler, he went to make his Vedas. And he asked the Kodesh Baruch Hu that he should, the stipler should give him an eitzah that Rabbeinu will be masking to. The eitzah al pidas Rabbeinu. And he went to the stipler, and the stipler immediately remembered the Bushel Deutsch. He told him, don't take. Rabbi Shlosh freaked out. What do you mean? How can it be? He told me to take it, as not to take. Because the stipler is Dovak B'Torah. And whatever comes out of it, whatever the Torah says. The Torah says, you yes, you no. Because for him, it's not mazik. For you, it'll be mazik. This is only something you will makabel through emunas chamen. The most important measuring stick you can get from your Rav is manikra normali. What is considered normal? Manikra meshuga. For you, personally. It's a very, very, very important point. People think, there's a rule. Rule number one is a kacha, rule number two is kacha, rule number three is kacha, and that's one size fits all. That's not the situation. These are the three midos, that are me'akim the heart, that distort this clear sight. Yira shalom. Yira shalom means my eyes are focused on what is my tachlis in the world. That's called Yira Shalom. Now, what happens if there is Taivas moment, Taivas Achila, Taivas Noshim? So this is what Rabbeinu says. This is what the Torah is about. It says this is through a das. When a person has a das and brings it to the heart, you have to pull the das to the heart. And this is something which is misaka in the three midas. Now, in Rabbeinu says, this is the three faculties of the moyach. This is the three faculties in the brain of a person. There's the three regalim. Every single yontiv is a brand new moichin. On every yontiv, we think, okay, we go to shul, we go home, seder or Shavuos, we eat milchig, simchas Torah, we dance, whatever it is. But okay, it's over. We're already cheshvan. But the point is that you have to understand that the main thing that we got in the Yom Tovim is this chachas hamaychim. And the reason that he says, okay, I want to tell you, I went through Sukkot, as you'll see here, and Rabbeinu says, Pesach nistakin taivas moment. Pesach is, the rectification of the tava for money, for greed. That Chazal says Baal Kochom. They didn't even want to have the money of the Mitzrayim. So the Mitzrayim gave him just take. They forced him to take. Israel didn't want to know why, because they experienced Pesach Mitzrayim, in which Taivas moment was totally rectified. They didn't want to have anything to do with it. Because they stuck in Taivas moment. This is when Taivas moment was rectified. Shavuos stuck in Taivas Mishaga. This is the Taivas of women. Chinas dam nekov and chalav. Chalav comes from we know that Yoledes, after she gives birth, she doesn't have daman anymore. She's not neither anymore, as long as she is breastfeeding the baby. Chazal says that instead of the dam, which would make her neither, now she has cholav. Dam mekav nasa cholav. It's converted to the koyach to produce milk. It says so, and dam is dinim, red, right? Is dinim, is taivas noshing, you have damin, and in Shavuos it becomes cholav, it becomes white. It becomes this. Besukas nistak in taivas achila. Sukkot, this is when the taivas achila is being rectified. Chazal said when somebody is hungry, but he has food in the house, it doesn't bother him that much. He always knows, he always can take and he can eat. Hello, and baya. But when a person is hungry, he doesn't have any food, then the food bugs him out. Maybe I'm never going to eat. I'm so hungry. I'm going nuts. So Chazal says, "Lo doime mishesh lapas besala." Somebody that already has food in his basket. Said that he can be hungry, but it's not the end of the world. He knows in his mind. Can always. There's a story. There are two brothers that they had money that they got from their father, the Yerusha. Now the times were bad, and they were losing their money. So what did they do? They took, a cast. They put gold coins in it, and they went to a certain place. They realized, listen, when the muzzle of a person goes down, don't try to buck the trend. Wait until the trend goes back up again. So they went and they decided they're going to they're going to bury this treasure and for 6 months. Not Hashem, but 6 months, the market will turn around. Now, one of the brothers, in the meantime, like a couple of months later, wanted to make sure that, the money is still safe. And he went to this place where they put the oitzar, and he saw that it was stolen. And for the rest of the time, until the 6 months were over, he was going out of his mind. What is he going to do? Doesn't have any money. Everything that they had was lost. In the meantime, his brother, who didn't know that it was stolen, had a good time. Did a little business, whatever it is. And when the 6 months were up, one brother that thought, that realized that the treasure was lost, couldn't even bring himself to make parnasa. And the brother that thought that the treasure is fine, it's in its place, he started making business, whatever it is. And when the time came up, he didn't need the oitzer anymore. Lo doime mishesh lo pas besaloy, misha lo pas besaloy. In other words, it didn't even matter that the money was not there anymore. As long as he thought that he still had the money, he didn't miss it. He had moich and the gadlus and so forth and so on. So comes the question. I have gone, personally, I'm not talking about anybody else. I have gone through quite a few Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot. And I still want my sushi. Okay, but said, and from here you can learn to the other two as well. לא שנה ולא שנתיים ולא 3 ולא 10 ולא 20 ולא 30. פסח, שבועס, סוכות, פסח, שבועס, סוכות. מסתכן תאי וסחיר, מסתכן Tavis Noshim, we're stuck in that Tavis moment. No. Favos bin ich derselbe Sheiges wie einmal. Why am I still the same bum I used to be? So there are two answers to it. First of all, I'm not the same bum I used to be. I'm still a bum, yes, but not the kind of bum I used to be. But secondly, and that's the real important thing, the real tikkun is taking place, but it goes into you, and you are making, you can see how you're advancing in this. If you want it, if you want that tikkun, if you have no interest in getting rid of Tavis moment, you're not going to get rid of it. You can't say like, take it away from me. No, take it away. Take it away. Take it. It doesn't work. When it says tzitzis is a segula for Shmei Sabrit, not if you don't want to, not if you don't want it to, it doesn't take it away then. When it says Rabbeinu is megala to us, there's a tremendous koyach. To misakin tavis moment, tavis achila, tavis noshim. But you have to want to be misakin. That's why Baruch Hashem there's Likutey tefillas. Yaakov Shechter, Hashem Yishmor Oto, is saying everybody's talking this way, this. What about the Likutey tefillas? Some of the Asad Nosson was. Likutey tefillas was put together. Al Pi Likutey Moharan. Nosson took the Torahs and every Torah he wrote Likutey tefillas on it. Somebody asked him, Nosson, if there's Ruach HaKodesh in these tefillas. And also says there's way beyond Ruach HaKodesh. It comes from Shara Chamishim Shel Kedusha, the 50th gate of Kedusha. And somebody asked him, Nosson, so they said that a person is also liten din v'cheshbon. Person would be, demanded of the olam haba for every day he didn't say Likutey tefillas. Meaning that if you say Likutey tefillas every single day, but so Nosson says, I don't say that way. I don't say it like this. So when he says the din is going to be easier, going to be lighter, if you say Likutey tefillas every day. Olam haba is no laughing matter at all. And I'm not talking chas v'chalila, kafakela, I'm not talking chas v'chalila, gehenna, I'm not talking Olam haba, is זה רציני מאוד. זה רציני מאוד. When Shmuel Hanavi, Shaul HaMelech was Mala, the neshama of Shmuel Hanavi, the Balasov, with the witch. Shmuel Hanavi came together with Moshe Rabbeinu. This is why. Why he bring Moshe Rabbeinu with him? So the Gemara says because he thought that this is Yom Adin HaGodol VaNoira, and he's being brought to court, and he was scared. Shmuel Hanavi, sheshokol keneged Moshe v'Aaron, was shaking in his boots because he thought that he's being called before Yom Adin HaGodol VaNoira. So you learn, Lefi Daiti, this is my tfisa on it. You learn a few things from that. First of all, why did he bring Moshe Rabbeinu? Moshe Rabbeinu will give an edus that Shmuel Hanavi kept the entire Torah. There's a kasha here. Well, the base din, because Baruch doesn't know that Shmuel Hanavi was the kind of Tata. Why does he need Moshe Rabbeinu with him? And so the answer, there are a few answers here. First of all, everybody needs the tzaddikim. Even Shmuel Hanavi needs Moshe Rabbeinu. Shakol the Moshe Aaron Beseder, he needs Moshe Rabbeinu. Because lo doime the shleimus of Kima Torah of Shmuel Hanavi to the shleimus of Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu. Ad kadei kach, there's no comparison. When you have Korach v'Adosoi, Korach was one of those who used to carry the Aron Kodesh. There were only 12,000 Leviim. Every other tribe was 70,000, 50,000, 100,000. Leviim, 12,000. Rashi says, Melamed Shaya Oren Mechala Bahem. The Aron Kodesh was decimating the Leviim. Why? Because where anybody carried Aron Kodesh and had a single machshava zora, zzzt, like an insect that flies into these blue lights, whatever it is, zzzt, on the spot. Korach, his daily job was to carry the Aron, which means not one single machshava zora. Korach. With him, 250 Rashi Sanhedros. You're talking about Dor Amid, Dor Deyo, okay? From them, 250 Rashi Sanhedros, this is the biggest people there. So you take the Chofetz Chaim, you take the Chazon Ish, you take all the Tzaddik Adoros, the Amoraim, the Tanoim, whatever it is, and they don't come to the bottom of the sole of the feet of one of those 250 Rosh Hashanah in Tzidkes, in Kedusha, with it. And the Kadosh Baruch Hu was incensed. That's it. He wants to wipe out Am Yisrael. Until Moshe Rabbeinu had to say, if you don't forgive them. By the way, interesting tidbit here. The mabul is called Mei Noach, right? Mei Noach. The Kadosh Baruch Hu had a taina to Noach. Why didn't you daven for your generation? When he came out of Teva and he saw the Churban, he started crying. Kadosh Baruch Hu says, "You fool! Now you're crying. You had to cry before." That particular Nakuda, with Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Mecheini na mesifra shekatavta kidon v'imoicholem." Mecheini is oisius mei Noach. Because the same way that in the Mabul, the only one who remained is Noach, and from him the entire world started. Because Baruch Hu says, "Let me finish them off, and I'm going to start a brand new world with you." So Noach went along with that. Moshe Rabbeinu says, "No, Mecheini na." This is the tikkun of mei Noach. So just the Tzvi Cheshen said that. Just Mama Musga. But the Kadosh Baruch Hu was impossible to placate the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Even Egel Azov, Kadosh Baruch Hu says, "Salachti k'dvarecha," however, whatever, but Korach v'Adosai, there was a Magefa, and the Moshe Rabbeinu had to take a secret that the Malach HaMavet gave him. He took the Ketores and he says, "Go stand between, go run to where the Magefa is." Wherever Moshe Aaron said we're still in the Magefa, one side were dead, the other side were kept alive. What did they want? They wanted democracy. They wanted elections. That's all they wanted. Bchirot. Kol Eida Kulam Kedoshim. Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Mi ten kol am Hashem neviim." Right? The Rambam says on this that what does it mean kol am Hashem neviim? Moshe Rabbeinu is not speaking in hyperbole. The Rambam says melamed that every person in Israel was yearning to madrega of nevuah. That was the quest. The Rubam, he sees this. Most of them reached it. He says, we can call Am Hashem Neviim, that everybody will reach it. But most of them did. Such a anger. Because even if you're Shmuel Anovi, you need Moshe Rabbeinu. Because between the quantum leap between the biggest tzaddikim ever and the tzaddik emes is le'en orach. You can't do it without the tzaddik emes. You can't. You can't exist without him. Even Shmuel Anovi. So why does it mean, or HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't know that Shmuel kept the Torah? He knows. But the thing is that when somebody is mekayem the Torah to the best of his ability, the rest of the tikkun is done by the tzaddik emes. Moshe Rabbeinu testifying that Shmuel Anovi was mekayem kol Torah kulo means that he was mashlim everything that needed to be between his madrega and Kaviyachol and the madrega of Moshe Rabbeinu. But there's another message here. It means that if you go with Moshe Rabbeinu, it helps for Yom Adin HaGadol. If you go with the Rebbe and Yom Adin HaGadol, you're safe. If you did whatever it is that you could do, and you're dovak b'tzadik, you are safe even Yom Adin HaGadol. You can imagine how scary it was and is for those who were kidnapped to Gaza. Imagine yourself, Shem Yerachem, being led to the tunnels, whatever it is, and whatever they're going through. This is just Olam Haba. Olam Haba is not funny. This is nothing compared to the pachad of Olam Haba. Rabbeinu said, he was once going in a carriage to a place, and it was very close to Shabbos. Rabbeinu had a pachad, chas v'chalila, maybe even b'chal Shabbos. He said it's only then that he understood what is the pachad of Chai v'Gehenna, that what they feel when they're being led to Gehenna. That's the Yiras Shamayim of Rabbeinu. Rabbeinu took the Tanakh, the whole Bible, and said, "This is my Sefer Musa." What does it mean? It means Sefer Musa means what obligates you. What are you supposed to? Ma mechayev otcha. Rabbeinu, the entire Tanakh is mechayev otcha. This is Sefer Musa. It's only through the year of Shalom that you can say, "Listen, I'm not coming here to play. I'm not coming here to play Rebbe, Chassidim, this, that. That is not what I'm looking for. I need to eradicate. I need to work. I need to cleanse. Taivas moment, Taivas achila, Taivas nashim. You have to ask for it. And Likutey tefillas and daven for it every day. We misbid and ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu for it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should help us, B'ezrat Hashem. We're all B'ezrat Hashem to start asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the right things. Okay, we got Trump elected, Baruch Hashem. Now can you start working on Taivas nashim, Taivas achila, Taivas moment? How about it? Okay. Open up our eyes. That Hashem, Hashem to you know, they say Mashiach will come. You know, people say, yeah, people dancing in the street. But that's not what Chazal. Chazal said that Mashiach will come, people will be hiding, putting themselves in holes in the wall. They'll be hiding away. Why? Because Mashiach, Hashem, whenever the person comes to Mashiach, Mashiach knows everything. People will hide. You know, Abel Cheshen used to be able to read the foreheads of the. So when he used to come, he was a Malamed in Cheder. So the kids wore the couples like this because he couldn't see. Can you imagine? You go to somebody who looks at you and sees everything. Shem Yazor and Hashem will see Mashiach B'zat Hashem B'Korov Mamash. Shkoyach and Shkoyach.